Let's see. Getting this new phone of mine onto the tripod's a little more difficult than my old one. Hopefully this thing don't fall out. Alright, that's not bad. Whoa. There we go. Okay. Getting it set up. More importantly, I gotta put a battery on this tripod on the phone here so the thing don't accidentally die on me. It's been a hot minute since I've done this. Go. I think this tripod's a little lopsided. That's better. Okay, let's go through some pre-print checks. This thing hasn't been started in a while. All right. You know what? Hold on. Connect Octo prints. Oh, I don't have Octo prints on my old phone. Fun. Don't load it up on there. Let's get some filament. Hatchbox black. PLA. It'd be a little awkward to do with the camera in the way. You know what? Let's move the camera over a wee bit. Just so I can get everything ready. Move this over just a little more for the moment. And while I'm at it, where did my angle snips? I think the hardest part about getting a printer started is just loading the filament through this BMG. This thing's a little finicky. but only for loading. It's pretty reliable otherwise. This one in particular likes the filament to be super straight going in. I was printing TPU on this last, so I wonder if the TPU got wrapped up in years. There we go. All right. Now then, we're going to level this gantry out. And I'm going to clean the build plate off. It hasn't been cleaned in a while. It figures I don't have octoprint on my backup. There we go. Gantry's all leveled out. I'll put octoprint on this later. I'm gonna be lazy and just run it from my computer. Ooh. It's a hot one down in the basement today. Alright, let's purge some filament. Get back in here again. Heat up the hot end. I gotta get rid of some old TPU that's in the hot end. Just gotta purge it out. I'm still here, guys. I'm just getting some stuff ready. Alright, let's see now. Let's get some old filament out. I'll perch 40 mils out. Still a little stringy. Let's get 100 millimeters out. Make sure we really clean it. TPU is kind of a fussy material. There we go. Glad I did that. Alright. They're just about ready. Okay. Let's heat everything up here. You know what? Let's get the view from the other side here, because I'm gonna need access to the dial for the first minute. Let's get some of that goo out of there. I'll be looking at the chat after the print starts. But don't take too long to heat up. While it's heating up, I can take a look at chat, see if there's anything. No, nothing yet. So, anywho, I'm bored. I figured I'd print a benchy. We're going to try and see what I can do about speed today. See if I can't get a benchy to go quick. I don't normally do speed prints, but I've been getting kind of into it. Eventually I'm going to tune the Ender 5 Plus, to go really, really fast. But I think I want to switch over to a micro Swiss direct drive. Not their old stuff, the NG. The next gen, I'm just waiting for it to come on a linear rail. Right now they only have the plates for the extrusion to run on rollers. Alright. While it's doing this, let me make sure my acceleration settings are still the way I want them to be. Nope. acceleration needs to go back up. There we go. Z acceleration doesn't need much. The acceleration and all that back to 2,500 millimeters per second squared. Probably re-lube the rails soon too. I'm gonna have to get some lube in a syringe to get these things all nice and lubed. Okay. It's been a hot minute since I adjusted the baby stepping as well. So I like to adjust it on the first layer. I don't have to do it every time, but if you're gonna do it, might as well do it right. I got the first layer only at 30 millimeters per second, then we're going up to 250. It's actually not too bad. I might just keep it right where it's at. You know, it will go down a little bit. See a very, very tiny gap. All right, let's see now. I don't want to drop the phone here. Let's see, there's a chat somewhere. No, the firmware saves the baby stepping as well. I just like to readjust it on most prints just because I switch between filaments so much. And if you're printing something like TPU versus PLA versus ABS versus PETG, they like to have slightly different first layer heights between them all, and I'm always switching between them. So I just like to make sure, as a standard procedure, that I have it just right when I switch between, because the last thing that was in here was TPU, and that stuff's a messy, gooey mess. All right, hold on. Let's get zoomed in here. Today is going to be a benchy, but we're going to try and see how fast I can print the benchy. First layer is pretty slow. Let's see. We're using Hatchbox PLA in black. The base speed is 250 millimeters per second. Acceleration values are 2,500 millimeters per second squared on the X and Y axis. Although, I want to make sure sometimes the G code tends to kind of mess with that. Let me make sure we're actually doing that. Let's see, acceleration. Okay, yeah, we're on 2,500 for it all. Set for retract. We don't need that fast on retract. Okay, as fun as 250 millimeters per second is, and I don't think it'll actually reach that, with a regular benchy. Let's just speed this system up. We'll bring this to 150 millimeter or 150% speed on the firmware here. Oops. We're going to incrementally speed it up as the layers go by, because this isn't really all that impressive. Starting to wonder. Nah, I don't really have a goal time. I'm just going to keep pushing the printer faster and faster and see what happens. I'm curious. Starting to feel like my G code. I wonder if the dang thing actually saved at 250. This doesn't feel fast enough. Let's speed it up to 200%. Oh, hold on. Maybe acceleration is limiting me. I forgot to change that. Hold on, let's bring it back down to 100%. I know you can't see what I'm doing. I'm working the dial. Settings, configuration, advanced, velocity. No, velocity is set to 300 max. Well, let's set the velocity up to like 400 max. Da, 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 da. Alright, velocity on X and Y is a maximum of 400 millimeters per second. Acceleration, 2,500 millimeters per second on X and Y. What we got the jerk at? Oh, the jerk's at 8. Oh, let me change the jerk to 10 on the X and Y. Let's see. I gotta get me more messages here. Yeah, the acceleration is, I just want to make sure all the stuff on the firmware side is working. I do have a Raspberry Pi. I'm not running stock firmware. Well, I mean, not for an Ender 3 anyway. I really should just have it running off the SD card, because I'm running a TH3D motherboard on this. The motherboard is easy enough to keep up. Although I have been interested in Clipper, I haven't really tried it out yet. Alright, now let's bring that speed setting back up. Let's go to 150%. Oh, that's 160. There's one thing I would change about this system, it's the encoder dial. Yeah, you know, I've heard good things about Clipper. Now that I'm just kind of goofing around more. I think I'm going to put a 50-15 fan on this thing, so cooling's a little better. The stock 4010 isn't all that great, and it's starting to wear out. Got a lot of hours on it. Served me well, but better cooling never hurt, at least not with PLA. ABS then starts to become a problem when you cool. Oh yeah? I heard there's a way to run Clipper natively off the motherboard actually nowadays. I haven't looked into it, but I do have a Raspberry Pi 4. Actually, no, it's funny. All my Raspberry Pis, except the one I haven't updated in a while, has had their firmware all messed up. I think there was an update not too long ago that screwed all of them over. But I gotta look into it and see what's going on. I can't connect to them at all anymore, so I think I'm gonna reflash the firmware. This isn't all too impressive. Oh yeah, no, I run decent SD cards on these things. Although I could probably stand to get a more reliable one. Fast ones are not always reliable. Although you don't really need all that much speed for these things. So you start hitting some crazy speeds, like on Vorons, then you might start missing steps. But, yeah. So, what is it you like about Clipper? Do I run a print farm? Nah, not really. I've got two Ender 3 Pros that are heavily modified. One of them is my friend's. I got an Ender 5 Plus that I'm modifying. That's one of my friends. And then I got another Ender 3 Pro that's another one of my friends. I mainly just goof around with 3D printers, modify them, that sort of thing. I do print stuff that I sell, but not like on Etsy or anything. I don't print anyone else's. I don't sell anything that's someone else's design. I only sell things that are my designs. So once in a while I get a good order and I run in printers for like weeks on end. Starting to think maybe I should have used one of my zoomed lenses instead of just doing zoom with software side, but oh well, too late for that. I don't think I've ever live streamed on this phone. I hope it's coming through clearly enough. Wireless, the Wi-Fi signal in my basement is not so great. You know what? I wonder. The firmware, I think, might limit me to 2,500 millimeters per second squared, unless I customize the firmware a little bit more. But let me see if I can go into configuration and get the acceleration. But it's kind of hard to reach. Whoa, the screen doesn't want to respond to me right now. Acceleration. Acceleration max on the X. Oh, hey, I can go over 2,500. Let's bring it to like 2,800 and see what happens. You know what? Let's do it for the y-axis as well. Why not? You gotta get some access over here because this dial. I need to get an extension cord for the dial. Well, the CPU must be pretty busy because I can't interrupt it. Oh, I want a configuration. Come back. Design configuration. Oh no, I hit print pause. Why? Come on. Come on, dial. I swear these encoder dials on these printers are like the bane of my existence. Configuration, thank you. Come on, go to advanced for me. Maybe I should pause it just so I can get in the settings. Come on, you bugger. No. Go back up. My printer's having an aneurysm. No, definitely don't go to reset EPROM. Up. Up. I said up, darn you. It's been the wrong way. I have the knobs like inverted on one of my printers. So it's, come on, advanced settings. Why are you being such a pain? Acceleration. Oh, change the acceleration of the Y, not X. Oh no, I did X. Acceleration of Y. Might not let me go past a certain value. I'll let it sit for a second, make sure it's not having an aneurysm. 2675. Oh wow, I set it to 8500. Whoops. This thing is not... Why are you being such a pain? It's not going to go at 8500. I mean, I guess it doesn't matter unless I tell the G code to do it. That's not what I had in mind, Ender 3. Come on now. Oh, whatever. I'll change the values the next print because it's being such a pain in the butt right now. Ugh. Yeah, input shaper and pressure advance is cool. I can do a linear advance on Marlin, although the input shaper does have an issue with keeping like sharp corners. And a lot of what I print actually does need really sharp corners and dimensional accuracy. Do I use 3D printers for my profession? Well, not really. I just kind of got into them a while ago. There was about 2 or 3 years ago, I was sitting down with my friend, and I was thinking to myself, you know, what are some things I could really use to help kind of make my life a little easier? I came to the conclusion I needed 2 things. I needed a sewing machine to repair some stuff that had torn, and I needed a 3D printer to make stuff that I need around the house. Well, the 3D printer got more than just stuff that was around the house. It just got stuff that was stuff, and now I have a lot of 3D printers because I find it interesting. I mean, I just repaired a leaky faucet with a 3D printer with some TPU, and it made a gasket. So that's fun, especially when they don't make a gasket for that thing anymore. Why do I need sharp corners? Because a lot of the prints I do are functional and they have 90-degree angles in order to fit other pieces that go into them. I have to get a certain dimensional accuracy within about 0.5 millimeters to make everything work properly. There are probably other ways I can get around that if I were to use like some threaded inserts and a screw. But I make so many of these things that doing that would increase the cost of the kit, and I'm trying to keep costs down for everyone. I could show you what I print, but Yeah, a lot of functional stuff. Let's see. Yeah, we're at 23 minutes in. It's not an impressive speed, but we're getting there. We're getting there. I think maybe I gotta get the layer time. I have the layer time on the G code set to 0.1 seconds per layer, which made the speeds more consistent. But yeah, I still feel this is kind of slow. And yes, I do sell stuff. Let me see if I can get my other phone working here. Be able to reply easier. Can I view my current live stream? Huh. Guess I can't. But yeah, I do sell stuff that I print, but I only sell things that I personally design myself. I never sell anyone else's stuff. I don't like the idea of taking someone else's stuff and selling it. I think that's kind of, a lot of the stuff has like a non-commercial license on it, and I try to do everything in my power to obey the license requirements, or, you know, when you download stuff. And I know there's, some of my stuff isn't open source just because I do sell them, and I took a while to design. And people get mad at me for that, but I do open source a lot of my stuff, just some of it is just like a personal pet project of mine that I'm not quite done with yet. Should probably adjust this camera. So one of the things that I sell is something for my fish. If you ever had a pet fish, you might be familiar with the test kits that you got to use to make sure the water quality is good. It's a special little thing that holds the test vials and makes it easier to read. Let's see. Can I find my own live stream on my phone? It's kind of weird. I think you'd be able to. Huh. Ah, well. So much for that idea. Oh, wait, maybe it sends an email of it. Sometimes it does that to notify me. Oh, can we do it? There we go. Am I good with CAD? Well, I like to think I'm halfway decent at it. Although I'm kind of old school. I like Autodesk products, but my God, are they expensive. So I'm always interested in trying to see what else is out there with CAD. I tried Fusion 360, but you know, for an Autodesk product, it just felt so, what's the word? Unfamiliar. Although most of my CAD learning was back done in high school a long time ago. I wish I could make this live stream like 60 FPS. But I don't think my internet's gonna let me do something like that. I don't think a phone call in the middle of my live stream, good heavens. Well, if I can get this live stream back on track. Well, I think my friend just killed my live stream. Yep, hold on, I'm going to try to see if I can't fix that. Oh, wait, hold on, we're back, don't kill the stream. Don't kill the stream, come on now. Okay, we're back. That was annoying. Alright, what's my Z-axis lead screw coupling setup? So I know a lot of people have been switching over to belts, which belts are cool and all that, but I'm still using dual Z-axis rods, standard pitch, with, they're not really necessary, but I do have anti-backlash nuts on both sides. I'm planning to switch over the Z-axis rods to something with half the length of the pitch. So I think the standard pitch is like 8 millimeters. I want to bring it down to 4 to increase the mechanical resolution. Old ham coupling. Not sure what old ham means exactly. I could do that. Let's see. Oh, you're talking about a spider coupler. Yeah, I have spider couplers on both of the stepper motors going onto the lead screw. Although I did design something that allows me to completely reposition the X and Y position of the stepper motor, so it's more properly in line with the lead screw nut position on the Z-axis or on the gantry. So in theory, I don't need a spider coupler at this point, but top of the lead screw. This particular setup does not have bearing blocks, but I do use bearing blocks on my main setup. I know bearing blocks are kind of a contentious thing for some people, but I did make a video talking about the pros and cons of them. When used correctly, bearing blocks help maintain the consistency over time, but you really got to get the lead screw on properly to make them work right. If your lead screw has any sort of like angle to it that's not perfectly squared up, then they can cause some issues by having some deflection in the rod, because lead screws are not really all that stiff. They do bend and stuff, but if you're using a spider coupler with it, then it should, in theory, account for any sort of misalignment to a certain degree. My goal, though, is eventually to get these Ender 3s on ball screws instead of using belts and lead screws. That being said, that's kind of for the future. Ball screws, like if you don't get a good ball screw, then there's actually going to be a lot of slop in them. Like cheap ball screws, those ain't going to cut it. For something that's supposed to have minimal to almost no backlash, the cheap ones do have some pretty bad backlash. You can get anti-backlash ball screws, which apparently that's a thing. But I'm going to try at some point designing something, but you gotta, let's see. I'm going to use spider couplers on top and bottom of the lead screw to see how it goes. That could be interesting. I don't think I've ever tried that, but I wonder if you can get a motor on both the top and bottom with spider couplers and get a more. I wonder if that would even be accurate. You have micro stepping you got to deal with sometimes. I personally think I don't think you really need spider couplers on the top. Yep, someone's trying to contact me. Oh, what time are we at? At 35 minutes. Yeah, it's not exactly a speed benchy. Oh. Well, I think I have retractions turned off too. No, I don't have firmware retractions enabled right now. I goofed on that one. Oh, I totally need to turn retractions back on. I'm a derp. Ah, well, I'm just trying to get the X and Y tuned right now for speed. I'll get the retractions taken care of in another benchy. This one looks horrible. Well, that's what happens when you don't have retractions in an area that desperately needs retractions. Well, I mean, technically, yeah, you'd be better off going to Teaching Tech's website and doing the acceleration tests and jerk tests and all that. But I wanted to just see what happens if I turn the dial up faster and faster. Call it a dumb way of doing things. How do I know when I've tuned acceleration up too much? When I start losing steps. If I'm going too fast to slow down, then I know I've gone too fast. Ugh, it's so ugly. Of all the things to not turn on in Cura. Now, I was trying to turn the acceleration up a little faster, but the encoder dial wants to give me some guff. I don't know, maybe I can persuade... Oh, is the encoder dial working for me now? Still being a little slow. Configuration... Come on. Nah, the encoder dial is still being way too fussy for me to change it right now. I swear the encoders on Ender 3s are just absolute trash. I'm going to restart this print when it's done and try turning the acceleration up to 4,000 and just keep turning the percentage up on the firmware side. It'll double most everything if I go up to 200. It won't double things like the acceleration on retractions. So it really only changes a few things. So right now I'm at 203%, but I have the acceleration and firmware limiting me right now. I can change the G code, but that's not going to go past what the firmware says the limits are. The firmware is 2500 on the Y and 2800 on the X right now. I'm going to just go for 4,000 and see what happens, and then I'll just have the G code adjust the acceleration. Well, I'll basically speed the G code up for X and Y movements. You know, I haven't done that calibration on this machine yet, so I haven't really seen, but I really should go on there and get those values figured out. I'm actually not really going for quality on this print. I'm just bored, so I'm just going to keep increasing the acceleration until something either breaks or fails. At a certain point, I'll need to increase the flow rate by either getting a high flow nozzle or getting a CHT nozzle or increasing the temperature or something, but it's not running at a real high temp right now. It's just 220C. What's my extruder? Oh, so this is actually a custom extruder. I contracted Micro Swiss to make me one. I had some changes to their design that I wanted done, but in essence, it is a CR10 Micro Swiss, but I had them custom make me a heatsink so that I can use compression fittings on the top instead of a Bowden collet. And then I'm running a copper block, and this printer is just a standard brass nozzle, but my other one I've got an M2 hardened steel nozzle. kind of want to change it out for a tungsten carbide nozzle, but I'm also kind of waiting to see those CH2 nozzles once they get into hardened steel, because apparently Bondtech will be releasing them in hardened metal, which is great because high flow nozzles are cool, but if they wear out real fast, that's not really going to do me any good. Alright, well, we are almost done on this benchy. We're at 43 minutes so far. I think we could do a lot better than that, though. Man, I need retractions turned back on. 44 minutes. Looks like we're clocking in at 44 minutes. All right. We're done. Hold on, I got glare there. 0044. Okay. Oops. Tripod. Now that we're done, at least with this one, move it to the side here for a minute. And got a lot of zits, but I think that's probably due to the plastic being hotter than it needs to be. Put that to the side. Alright. Pull that off. Some gobbledygook. Alright, now then, let's change some firmware settings. You know what? Hold on. We're going to take this off. Go in the firmware. Go to configuration. Go to advanced. Go to... Oh, that's my steps. Herp-de-derp. I just want to check that. Alright. Acceleration. Now it changed back because I have the firmware changing everything. We'll bring the acceleration up to... this one's actually going to affect it. 3,000 there. Retract, we don't need to change. Travel acceleration. Bring up to 3,000. 2800 on the X, we'll bring that up to 3000. The Y, that's why I didn't want to adjust it, because this encoder dial was not working during the print. Oops, went too far. Oh my god! See why I hate this encoder dial? You know what? We're going to just set it to 3500 on the X and the Y, because it shouldn't actually go faster than that until the G-code says. Ah, you know what? I got G-code override. Ah, that's gonna suck. I have to change all these again during the print. Ah, well. I like Kira. Oh, I can increase it past 5,000. It was at 8,000 there for a second. Hold on. Let's get the print going back again. Okay, well, it's not doing anything. Let me change those settings. Configuration, advanced, acceleration, okay. Kept the values, I gotta check those values. What am I doing? There we go. Luckily, we don't have to heat up all that much. Yeah, let's get this little gobbledygook out of the nozzle. Actually get it? Yeah, I got it. Alright, we're almost at temperature. Go back in, make sure it's saved my settings. I should not have used override in G-code. Alright. Let's purge some filaments. I don't know why I didn't notice I wasn't Z-hopping originally. That should have been, like, super obvious. It's been a while since I've been down here. I might go a little bit up. Okay. Now one last check while we're going slow. Configuration, advanced, acceleration. Alright, my acceleration settings seem to be okay. You know what? I don't know why I don't have this at 3500 as well. Let's have everything on 3500. It's going slow on the first layer. Just because I like a slow first layer, make sure that bond on the build surface is good. Okay, now we're moving. Maybe I shouldn't have had combining skin either. I guess it doesn't really matter if you don't have retractions going. Okay, now we're moving. All right, so let's bump up. $152%, sure, why not? Oh, let me load my other phone so I can see the chat now. Voltage on the power supply, 110. Oh, wait, you mean, oh, sorry, 24 volt system. The power supply is AC input to 110, its DC output is 24. Alright, this speed's not impressing me. Let's bump it up to 200%. Yeah, I'm thinking the jerk set back to its standard 8. The problem is the encoder dial doesn't like to work while it's printing. Oh, okay, no, hold on, it's working okay now. Configuration, advanced, jerk. Yeah, the jerk went back down to 8. Hold on, we're going to bring that up to like, I don't know, how about, ooh, don't want 23. No, I don't want 1 either. I don't want 44. The encoder dial's being a pain in the butt again. Aiming for 14. Okay, 14. You can stay on 14. Come on. You gotta hit the encoder dial just right for it to accept anything. Up, 14. 14, 14. Advanced settings, configuration, main, info. Okay. Still feel like we're not really going all that fast. Because right now, the settings are faster than the Anchor Make M5's advertised settings. A 2500 acceleration on an X and Y and 250 base speed. But that doesn't really feel like we're going at that speed right now. I mean, I can see that I'm eating plastic pretty quick. Which... I mean, that's a decent enough indication, but... no rotary dials and clipper, you may have just sold me on it. Yeah, the short path is killing me on getting top speeds here. Do I have a Titan style extruder? No! I've got an all-metal BMG. It served me quite well over the years. You just got to remember to lube the gears once in a while because it's all metal. I even have some hardened steel gears. Although I don't think I'm using the hardened steel gears on this particular setup. Oh, shoot, you know what it might be? At least partially. Let's see. I have the maximum velocity at I bumped it up to 400. Although 200% speed at 250, that'd be 500. Yeah, I don't think I'm getting the acceleration up that fast though with like what you were saying before with this distance. So let me think. What should I try? The acceleration is at 3,500. I wonder what happens if I just put it at 5,000. Now, I feel like the jerk is not fast enough for the acceleration to even catch up, though. I think I need to get the jerk settings a little higher so that I can actually accelerate faster off of a corner. I can hear I am hitting a certain limit. I got the stepper motors complaining at me when it hits the edge of the benchy. But I don't believe it's actually missing a step. Actually, that might be the Z-axis complaining at me. Actually, I gotta figure out what that noise is. 14 minutes in, and we're 9.2 millimeters up in height. The thing about it is, I just don't think I can get this thing to go faster because I gotta change the settings with the dang encoder dial. And the encoder dial is giving me so much guff, I'd have to pause the print to get it to change anything, which I guess that's not the biggest deal in the world. Well, hold on, let me think. No, if I do pause prints, I won't be able to go in the settings, because then it's going to be stuck on the menu that says, do you want to continue? Darn. Debating. You know what? I'm gonna let this benchy finish, and then I'm just gonna see what the times are, changing accelerations through each one, and jerk. I really just shouldn't handicap the firmware by having it set to a low acceleration anyway. I mean, I guess 35? I guess 3,500 millimeters per second squared isn't really low speed, especially considering the stock is like 500 on the acceleration. But if you're going for speed, buddy, this ain't it. I originally wanted to just beat the Anchor Make M5, but I mean, even this is looking slow. Maybe I've been watching too many Voron videos. There's a new printer coming out, the, I forget what it's called. I gotta look it up, but it's like standard acceleration is 10,000. Which is pretty freaking high, actually. Although, what are people running on Voron nowadays in the V0s? I feel like people are running way higher than that nowadays. Go for 5K acceleration. I mean, I want to. Let me see if I can get the dial to actually work. Man, this is going to be a nightmare. The dial's fighting me every step of the way. Configuration. Come on, go to advanced settings for me. Advanced settings. Bring me to acceleration. Come on. Nope, that's too far down. It's got to wait for the G-code to execute before it'll take the signal from the encoder dial, which is the main problem that I'm dealing with this thing. And I just can't get the dial to function for me. No! You know, I wonder if the percent speed actually affects acceleration. No, the percent doesn't affect acceleration, it just affects G-codes reads. Oh, I'm going to have to wait for this thing to finish before I can change those settings. That's annoying. And yes, Z-hop is turned on, but I have retractions turned off. I goofed up that setting when I was slicing. I got to go back upstairs on my rig and re-slice this. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. It seems to only complain when it moves up a layer. Then again, it's not complaining. It hasn't been complaining for a little while now, so maybe it's not the Z-axis complaining. It might be the X-axis, honestly. It seems to only happen when it goes from left to right and it ends its move going positive in the X-axis, and then it starts to move backwards on the X-axis. So that might be why. I mean, I'm not losing any steps from it, but it does complain a little bit. Is the X motor hot to touch? Probably not. But I'll touch it anyway. Nah, the X motor is perfectly cool. I think it's a forced situation. I don't know, maybe I can tighten up the belts a little bit. I mean, the belts are Gates GT2. Well, I mean, GT2 is the teeth orientation, but they are genuine Gates fiberglass reinforced belts. So they don't have any stretch to them. So when it comes to a stop, it just comes to a stop. But that's why I want to get ball screws, man. Ball screws would be fun. I don't think you're going to run as fast on ball screws as you are going to be able to do on belts. But I'm still curious to see what happens when I move to ball screws. I'm going to get another sip of my soda. Oh, ball screw on X? I'm talking ball screw on all axes. I want to do a ball screw for everything. It's going to be like $2,000 in ball screws. I mean, I could start with the cheapo depot ball screws, but I eventually want to get high wind ball screws once I finalize the setup. The thing about it is, though, I'd have to design some custom brackets to make ball screws work, which isn't a problem, but I want to CNC mill it out of aluminum, so that way I'm not running plastic on a high-speed, high-rigidity setup. Plastic is good for some things, but when it comes to the printer itself, I much prefer everything to be metal. I've seen a few systems that are all ball screws. There's not a whole lot of them, but if you ever looked at like some of the really nice custom industrial ones, they are running all ball screws on every axis, and it's just freaking sweet, man. Ball screws really don't care too much about the load that's put on them. I mean, they're meant for, you know, some pretty intense work. So I don't think I'll ever have an issue with them so long as they're properly lubed. It's just getting them to that point. Oh, I gotta decide on a CNC machine so that I can mill everything out of the aluminum. I haven't really done CNC work since I was in high school. So I'll have to relearn myself how to do all that, but I don't think it'll be that big of a problem. People say 3D printing is harder, which I don't know. 3D printing is pretty easy once you get used to a few parameters. Granted, this Benchy is not proving that. Oh, what's our time at? 28 minutes. We got to beat, what was it, 40 something minutes to prove that this acceleration setting is really doing anything. Oh, you know what? I should turn the minimum layer time to 0, because at a certain point, some of the layers aren't going to be more than 0.1 millisecond or 0.1 seconds. It's 100 milliseconds. Oh, I can't believe I didn't have retractions turned on. That was silly of me. Probably don't even need to be at 220C for this either. You know what? I'm going to lower the temperature down to 200 and see if I have enough to not have any issues. I can at least change that through Octoprint. It's taking a while to receive that data, though. There we go. Wow, there's a good 4 or 5 second delay. No wonder the encoder is giving me so much guff. The encoder wheel is bad on a good day. You know, even if I did have firmware retractions on, I couldn't get into the menu to actually change it. Yeah, I mean, technically, I feel like there should be a way to change it in Octoprint if I SSH into the printer. But that seems like such a pain in the butt. Well, the thing is, though, you know what? I really don't like GUIs either. Like, the Ender 5 Plus came with a GUI, and let me just say, the GUI on the Ender 5 Plus is absolute garbage. It is a hot mess of a situation. Like, really, it's that bad. Although I feel like it would probably run a lot better if I was reading off the SD card and not the not from the Octopi. Oh, let me make sure this thing's. Oh. Well, this stream may have to end because my battery's at 13%. And it doesn't seem like my little portable charger is charging fast enough. Well, I wonder if I can get it just enough. Yeah, I know. You know what? Clipper sounds like fun. I might just spend a day or two working on Clipper. Whoops, that's my finger. Can you make a video doing the Ender 3 300C high temp firmware update? Well, I could. That being said, you're going to want to make sure your thermistor can handle 300C. If you're going to go above 300C or even really close to it, you really ought to be getting like a PT100 thermocouple. Although that being said, I use TH3D EasyBoard Lite, so the firmware updates on these things are super easy. It's not even like regular firmware compilations or compiling. Their server-side system does like the compiling for you. It's super quick. I could change the whole firmware in about like 3 or 4 minutes. Already doing the upgrade parts? Well, I mean, Marlin 2 isn't all that much different from Marlin 1. I mean, I could compile it myself if I want to. I mean, I could try. What are you printing that's going up to that temp? Because personally, what I use, I love these things. Hold on. Let me show you what I'm using, because I can go up to 280 around there without much fuss. These are the thermistors that I use. These are hex bolt thermistors with well, no, it's not an EPCOS. It should be a standard. I'm blanking on the type of thermistor, but it's basically a glass bead that's been special heat epoxied into this bolt, and it just screws into the block where the retainer bolt would go. I've had super good success with these. Nice. I got a friend that that does a lot of that sort of thing. Although I guess it really depends on the plastic, you know. I mean, if you're doing ABS, you could easily get away with 250C for most ABS. If you're doing PLA, there's not a whole lot of PLAs that get much more than like 230. Even PET-G is like 240. I guess if you want to start printing out of like peak, then you're going up to really high temps. Well, hold on. I guess there's your carbon fiber nylons. Those you might need to get rather high up there to do properly. Although I haven't personally done it. Well, if you're going to do carbon fiber or anything, you might want to do that in the garage, because sometimes little strands of fiber kind of get everywhere, from what I've heard. Oh, okay. That's kind of neat. Carbon fiber nylon, nice. That's going to be some super rigid stuff. I wanted to get into carbon fiber nylon for some car parts I need to design when I go rally racing. I haven't gone rally racing in a while just because the gas prices are insane. Holy cow, it's like $5.86 for a gallon right now, which is just killing me. Oh, we're done. 37 minutes. We shaved like 5 minutes. Oh, hold on. 37. We were at like, what, 44 minutes last time? So, 7 minutes off our time. Alright, let me see if my phone is actually charging or not. Nope, it's not charging. I'm using more power than I can charge. Alright, guys. Sorry about cutting this off. I actually do want to go faster. But this phone's about to die, and I can't do anything about that, unfortunately. So I'm going to end the stream here, but it was nice talking to you guys while I derped around. I'm going to change the slicer settings so that I actually have retraction. So next time when I do this, I actually get some decent benchies. So they're not all just stringy messes. Anywho, see you guys later.